Hey everyone, this is Jody Vesley again with the Heartway Pastor and Missionary Caregiver podcast. Today I'm not in my hometown. Usually I'm recording there from Alvin, Texas. But today I'm actually outside a mission house here in Hatley, Mississippi. And so you'll hear some of the nature, some of the natural noises around this area. And we're just doing a little bit of deputation work in this area, sharing about our Heartway and Russian Ministry Online Ministries. And I think that's going pretty well. Today, I want to share with you another story. We're doing season 3 stories for this season of podcast. The last episode, I shared my testimony. I would encourage you to listen to that if you haven't. I think it's encouraging to see how God works, and maybe also motivating for you to share your testimony and your faith with others. Today, we're going to share about the call. I'm going to share about my call into ministry. And so, for everyone, the call looks a little different. We see the call in the Bible in Acts 13 when Paul and Barnabas were called to the work of the ministry. Today, I want to let you know about my call to inspire you, to encourage you, and just help you be motivated to keep on keeping on. Or if you're not sure if you're being called, maybe this can give you some clarity. Maybe you're being called and you don't know it. And maybe through my experience of the call and sharing this can help you to see that God is in fact calling you. So for me, if you listen to my testimony and the last season, you'll know that I was saved halfway through my senior year of high school. That's when I heard the gospel and believed in Jesus. And if you know much about me, I'm quite a planner. I do like to plan. I've had to adjust and adapt, and definitely being in Russia has made me a lot more adaptable and adjustable than I had ever been before. But at that time, halfway through my senior year, I already had decided what I wanted to do and had plans to do that. I had been accepted into the University of Texas at Austin in their aerospace engineering program, and I had done a mentorship at NASA my senior year of high school. And so I just thought, I would just work maybe in NASA one day, or at least work in the field of rocketry. And it was my plan, though. It was my plan. And so when I started studying and when I started university there at UT in Austin, I just did not have any peace spiritually about what I was doing. That's the only thing I can explain about it, because really my giftings are in math and science. And so there were some aspects of it I liked personally, but spiritually I was just at complete unrest in what I was doing in my studies and my career path. Around the same time that I joined and started studying there at UT in Austin, about that same time I had met a group of Christians there on campus, a student organization of Christians, and this group of guys that I had been meeting with, that I met with regularly and had been meeting with, helped me a lot in my spiritual growth. I was, only a half year old in Christ. I was still a baby in Christ, and I was still definitely learning things in the Bible, from the Bible I'd never heard before. I was learning this and that, and these guys helped me a lot in my spiritual growth. Some of the first just kind of outdoor evangelism I'd ever done, I had done with some of these guys. These guys provided my first home meetings that I had ever done, which really became a basis for how we did home meetings when we did church planning while we were in Russia, and how we do it now to an extent online, and how we just conduct our ministries and our services. So it's definitely a vital part of my spiritual growth. And as I was studying the Bible with these guys, and as I realized that what I was doing wasn't what God wanted me to do, I'd also come to the realization that God does have a plan for me. He actually has a plan for us all that's biblical. And so I began to pray about what God's plan was for me. And I tried to go through some different doors into music, because I'm a percussionist and had a lot of experience in that. I tried to go maybe into the business realm of things, and God just shut those doors. And so I was just thinking, what next? What do I do? And one day I was talking to Gabby, who's my wife now, and I was telling her that I just didn't know what to do. We were talking about this, and she told me, well, maybe God's calling you to be a foreign missionary. And I just kind of heard that, kind of laughed at it, and kind of just didn't think about it again for a long time. And because I didn't really see myself as someone in ministry. One of the main things that we think of when we think of people in ministry is preaching, is public speaking, is speaking to people a lot. And by nature, I'm an introvert. By nature, I don't have good speaking abilities. In fact, doing this podcast was definitely a huge step out of my comfort zone. In high school, I would just read my speeches word for word and not make eye contact. I didn't do well in speech. And so God has worked on me and my heart and my abilities a lot, and somehow used me as a mouthpiece to preach His word after surrendering to His call. But anyways, I just didn't think being a foreign missionary was something that God had gifted me with, and so I just didn't consider it. And then in my Bible studies that I was doing with this group of Christians, one day we were reading about Moses and his calling, and he gave the excuse to God at first of not having good speaking abilities, and this really, really resonated with me. And yet, eventually, God used him, and I feel that God got the glory even more because Moses wasn't gifted in that area. That God had to use someone who wasn't gifted in that area to do His will, and in doing that, God gets the glory and not the individual. And reading that story and all of that clicking, I just began what I was realizing I was doing and praying to know God's plan for me. I was putting God in a box that was in the realm, in the scope of my giftings, of what I felt my giftings were. And so after reading the story, I just broke that box apart and just openly and sincerely prayed to God about His plan for me. And I can remember the day where I just came to this realization, where I finally realized the call. It was in the spring of 2006. We were already signing up for the next year of classes. I didn't want to sign up again to stay in the same program. And I had just taken a statics quiz, was in class, just sitting there waiting for everyone else to finish. And I was just praying about this, about God's plan, and God just really opened up my heart and my mind and just made it super clear to me that He wanted me to be a foreign missionary. And I finally had a spiritual peace that I hadn't had since being in university. And I told I called I remember leaving that class and calling Gabby immediately, telling her God's calling in my life, and that I was just excited. And so that was my call. There was a lot that happened after that, that we'll probably go into in the next story or two. I'm thinking about sharing the difficulties I went through in pursuing my calling. I just have to be careful with how I go about that. But anyways, I once I had that sense and that understanding of what God wanted me to do, and surrender to it, things just began to work out. Things began to work out. I had peace with what I was doing. And one of the really cool things I want to share with you guys about this is that God had also called my wife, Gabby, into foreign missions earlier in her life. And she had never told me. She had never told me this. We weren't married at that time. We were just friends, dating off and on. And at this point, we weren't really dating. And she told me after a while, after we had started dating again, that God had called her into foreign missionaries when she was younger. And me surrendering to foreign missions was kind of a confirmation for her that we should be together. And I thought that was really awesome. God worked all of that out, because I felt like I should be with her. She felt like she needed to be in foreign missions. God called me to foreign missions, and he worked everything out. God's work is beautiful. We just follow his will, follow his plan for our lives, follow his calling. What he does is quite beautiful. And so I hope this was encouraging to you all today. I hope there was some useful information for you. I love sharing my calling. I don't get enough chances to do it, but I just wanted to share it with you all today. And I look forward to the next episode when I start talking about what happened beyond this point. But until next time, this has been the Heartway Podcast, where we seek to help with issues at the source.